So I have no idea how long this stream is going to be. I also have the, let me move the microphone, live chat disabled because I just want to focus on the content here and not get sidetracked any more than I already will. As you all know, Kent said some pretty disgusting stuff sometime in the past week or so with regards to the Holocaust. Insofar as, of course, him trying to, with his absolutely ridiculous chain of logic, try to equate the concept of evolution to the idea of the Holocaust having happened itself. Even though, his whole thing is, oh, evolution is the basis for racism, even though racism has existed for the entirety of human history. So it most definitely is not the origins of it. It was just usurped by racists as another way of validating their insanity. That's beyond, that's another discussion here. What we're going to discuss here, however, is some jackass actually trying to defend Hovind for, I'll just play the video clip and then let you see the comment chain, which I was actually delayed in starting this stream because I was responding to something that I didn't catch earlier. Because unlike the person who commented, I, as you know, have a real job to go to and real things to do. So I only noticed now at damn near 6 p.m. So, sorry, started my own damn stream up. I had my tab open, sorry. It's weird clicking on the thing and just getting your own voice coming back at you. Anyway, so, right, let me toggle the correct option that I want. That's it, this video, which I titled and it uploaded 3 days ago, and you wonder why I cover the evil that is Kent Hovind like I do. I am just going to play the video as I have it, and then we'll go to the comment.
Hitler could kill the Jews because they're not people. We're just slaughtering animals. I've been over there, preached in Germany, went to the concentration camps. There's one of the ovens they would use to bake them. There's one of the ovens they would use to bake them. There's one of the ovens they would use to bake them.
Now, that was, of course, done in a style which I've done once previously for Hovind, and likely will continue to do, where I focus on the egregious comment, disgusting comment, what have you. Anyone with half a brain, i.e., anyone who isn't a fucking Hovindite, will hear the phrase, that's one of the ovens they use to bake them, and be disgusted. Because he is speaking of the crematoria at places like Auschwitz, at Dachau, what have you, where those who died in the concentration camps or were straight up executed. So either way, if you died in the camps, that's how they disposed of you, was industry grade crematoria. The entire process was industrialized genocide. It's an incredible study if you can tolerate the sickening feeling it will give you, if you're actually a decent person. Hovind, however, takes it and uses it as a platform. The 6 million Jews alone who were murdered, not counting the other groups, the Soviet prisoners, the gypsies, the gays, anyone that the empire deemed not worthy of actually being kept around for anything useful, for any long term anyway. The possibly 10 million plus who were actually killed by the entire system. He doesn't care about that. All he cares about is trying to equate actual science with fucking bullshit the Nazis pulled. Because everyone wants to paint every person who's bad immediately as a Nazi. And we're all guilty of it at some point. I will refer to certain groups as Nazis pretty regularly. Of course, don't act like Nazis and I won't call you fucking Nazis. Don't literally be Nazis and I won't call you Nazis. So one can argue there's a difference when I can actually back things up instead of trying to completely reverse the reality of it. That being said, this is the comment that was left by someone who obviously is so deep up Kent's ass, they're scrubbing his back teeth. From Marker 3346, That is absolutely not what he said. In fact, the opposite. He cited the Nazis who simply defined killing innocent people as righteous, like some would do today. You're disgusting for cutting the video in midst of his argument. When I, have done the entire fucking stream, I watched the entire stream as I do systematically for this very reason, and then excerpted that for its poignancy. But let's go through this bit by bit. I'm just going to take my human self through it and go through the chats. And then, since one of the models around here is using computers to kill God, we're going to let our friend ChatGPT have at this and other things Hovind has done. Because I would just like to go on record. As granted, it's just a large language model. It's basically advanced predictive text. But still, what it knows, what it's data-based about the essence of being human, what it has to say on it as a computerized system based on moral conscience that it developed from humans as opposed to anything that was instilled in it. First off, absolutely not what he said. Yes, it is. And as I say down here, in fact, I'm just going to read my reply comment. Yeah, that is literally what he said. It's just a clip right from it. Imagine being someone defending a pedophile, enabling, wife-abusing, anti-Semitic fraud that being that blasé about the very subject he is using as a crux of his lies about the actual motivations of the Nazis, all for his own gain. Holy shit, you're a garbage human too, ain't you? But let's go back. Absolutely not what he said? Yes, it is. In fact, the opposite. No, he literally said those words. You can't say he didn't say those words. And what this is this fucker's trying to, without saying it, play the context game. You took him out of context. No, I didn't. No one who gives a damn about the Holocaust subject would ever phrase things that way. And we'll get to that with the ChatGPT thing, because I've asked it before and was intrigued by what it said and actually inspired me to do this video. He cited the Nazis, who simply defined killing innocent people as righteous. That has nothing to do with anything. There's been groups all through history who have done that. Do I need to follow the cliche and bring up the Crusades? Do I need to do that? Because that's totally a thing that happened. The politics of the Third Reich, insofar as their ethnic cleansing policies, the euthanasia, Action T4, Operation Reinhardt, the Holocaust in general, they're complex issues that can be simplified as they wanted to eradicate those people they didn't like. But that has nothing actually to do with the words Kent said. That doesn't change the words he said. And like some would do today, what the fuck does he mean by that? Is he trying to say something about left-wing people? Is he trying to say something about the fucking about Muslims? I mean, what the hell is he trying to say? Because it doesn't come through, so you can't communicate for shit. And then you're disgusting, bang, comma. For fun fact in programming, an exclamation point is known as bang. It might be used in other contexts. And if you make a question mark that has the dot in it, that's called it's a question mark exclamation point hybrid linked by the dot. It's called an interrobang. It's for a really excited question like, what are you doing? Yeah, that people don't use that character that much. It needs to make a comeback. Anyway, I just love, though, that he had to have the comma there. And it's like, bro, did you want to finish that thought or not? But I'm disgusting. I'm not the one trivializing the death of 6 million plus people and cutting the video in the midst of his argument. No, I come in while he's talking to provide context, which I think provides enough context to understand, oh, he's talking about the Holocaust. Oh, shit, he says this out of nowhere. I showed a coworker today this, before this comment had happened, mind you, and he was just like, what the fuck? How do you put up with this guy? Like, I have exposed regular people to Hovind, and they are like, what the actual fuck? And I double check with them. Like, do you want to see it in the context more of the longer parts of the video? And sometimes I'll show them whole segments, and they're just like, I can't stand this guy. But okay, we're gonna go to what Billy replied with, because I didn't see this dude's comment until just before the stream. Nerdy Trucker Billy pops up. See, you're completely missing the entire point of this clip. It's not the first half of the clip where he's citing what the Nazis believed. It's the second half of the clip where he's describing baking them, which is why I do the multi, the comedic multi, blah, 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 blah thing. I'm not going to repeat the words he said. They sicken me. That is an utter malice and disrespectful way. I think he means to say utterly malicious and disrespectful way of describing the horrific death that they had to endure. Hovind, you would think, would have a better way of describing what those were for. Heck, for that matter, you would think he would have enough common sense not to be taking pictures in front of it and then brag about what he is standing in front of. Now remember, Billy's a Christian, mind you. He's one of our allies in this fight against Hovind. Religiosity, atheism, that all be damned. He's on our side to keep this man in check and limit the damage that he and his ilk do. I swear to goodness, you Hovind supporters will support him through anything and everything that he says and does. I would make a joke about your mental capabilities in processing simple logical things, but I think that would be an insult to people who actually have mental disabilities. And unlike y'all, I have enough respect to not make those type of jokes. So Billy being a class act right there and having a very nice way of summarizing where the problem is. Because, of course, I'm popping my comments out, while I should be working. So I'm having to rush and text-to-speech this junk. So the comment that had come in just a little bit after I'd originally done, he actually is quite pro-Israel because his schatology, I don't know, demands it from him. In other words, he can't say he's against it, but we all know he's not against Israel. And I go into this in comments. You all know my thing, that Hovind is a Zionist Nazi. He requires Israel to do the things Israel is supposed to do to fulfill his apocalyptic theology, bring that to completion, but he is very much an anti-Semite otherwise. Nobody defends his other wrongdoings. They certainly fucking do. You act like a child trying to primitively pull people on your immoral atheistic side by fraudulent means. No, I provide content for people who might enjoy it. That is what I have always said for every single thing I have ever created on the internet, is that I create something that hopefully will find the audience who will enjoy it. And in the case of this content, I have. But I act like a child compared to Kent Hovind? Please. But this is just ridiculous. And also the accusation that I'm somehow immoral. I mean, we all do human stuff. We all have things that, things we do that some people might not find all on the up and up. But, okay, you don't do it then. I'll do what the fuck I want. I'm not doing anything that the society on a whole would objectively say, like, no, you're a horrible person for it. But I love this one, and this is an absolute comment. One saying I'm disgusting for obviously misrepresenting him, when no, I let him say what he has to say. And then you act like Satan would. Of course, not capitalizing Satan. Oh, that brought a smile to my face. And you'll see, and this is right before I went live, I put this comment out, so it made me a little chaotic, but Kent is a Zionist when it applies to his death cult, and an anti-Semite otherwise, promoting Jewish New World Order conspiracies and books like Protocols of the Elders of Zion. Somehow the man is a Zionist Nazi, a first. Then you try and call me a child when you're defending a man who behaves like Kent does? Oh, and then comes the claim of me somehow being immoral when, again, you support a pedophile enabling woman and child abusing cult leader who, unlike me, has quite the criminal record. But yeah, I'm the bad one here. No, the only thing you have right here is that I do act like Satan, and that I, unlike your pathetic God character or Kent, actually speak the truth, and everything I have said here and shown here is factual reality, something you as a Hovindite simply cannot comprehend. And that was posted just before I had started the stream. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take dude's comment. I'm going to close this for a second, double check. Now I kind of wish I did have the chat open, because I would love to know what some of y'all would be saying right now, but such is life. We're going to go to our friend ChatGPT, and I'm going to ask it, how can I phrase this? How do you There we go. Sorry, I couldn't speak and type at the same time. I'm trying not to show how terrible a speller I am. Great typist, terrible speller. How do you interpret this reply I got in a YouTube video where I show someone saying something I and many others find offensive, and then I have it quoted? I read that reply as a defensive counterattack from someone who feels the speaker you criticize was taken out of context. A few things are going on with it. Flat denial. That is absolutely not what he said. They reject your framing outright. Reverse meaning claim. In fact, the opposite. He cited the Nazis. They're claiming the speaker wasn't endorsing the offensive idea, but condemning it by comparison to Nazis. Moral reframing, like some would do today, they extend the argument to suggest the quote was a warning against people redefining morality now. Personal attack, you're disgusting for cutting the video. Instead of just debating the interpretation, they attack you directly, accusing you of dishonesty. And this is where it doesn't even know the context yet. So let me let it know. What if I told you this was in the context of a video where a person is comparing? I shouldn't lead it on like that. Discussing the actions of the Nazis, and when mentioning the hell, I spelled it right. Cool. Mentioning the crematoria, says these are the ovens they use to bake in an extremely casual way. Okay, that changes the picture a lot. If the original clip was of someone referring to the Nazi crematories with a flippant, these are the ovens they use to bake them, then the issue isn't just what point they were trying to make, it's how they chose to say it. The reply you got seems to focus narrowly on the intellectual intent of the speaker. He was condemning Nazis, not supporting them, while completely ignoring the tone and phrasing, bake 'em, that many people would understandably find offensive, trivializing, or dehumanizing. So, the commenter is defending the argument that the Nazis redefined evil as good, but they're sidestepping the delivery, which is what you and others reacted to, the casual, joking phrasing when describing mass murder. That's not what he said, isn't really true. He did say the line. It's just that they're interpreting intent more important than wording. The anger towards you, you're disgusting, comes from them believing you're attacking the person unfairly when really your critique is of the insensitivity of how it was said. So the reply reads like someone trying to rescue the speaker's point, but in doing so, they're glossing over why people found it offensive in the first place. And it's asking me about how to sketch, how to sketch. ChatGPT and other AI always do this. They will always ask you, hey, how next can I help you? Let's go to town, even if it's nowhere near what you want to do. So you just move on with it, and it does not care. What if I told you this was said by Kent Hovind? That adds another layer. Ken Hovind is already a very polarizing polarized figure. People either see him as a persecuted truth teller or as a manipulative, dishonest extremist. Because of that, many of his defenders will reflexively or interpret or sanitize what he says, while critics will highlight the insensitive or misleading parts. So in this case, the phrase, these are the ovens they use to bake them, is still objectively flippant and dehumanizing. Even if Hovind's intent was to argue that Nazis redefined murder as moral, his choice of words make it sound like a joke or a throwaway line about genocide. That's why it hits people as offensive. His defender's reply makes more sense in context. They're a Hovind supporter, so they're assuming you cut him off to make him look like a Nazi sympathizer. Then they flip the framing, saying he was condemning evil, not endorsing it. But what they can't really defend is the casual, crass delivery. To outsiders or anyone sensitive to Holocaust history, it sounds at best careless, at worst mocking. And since it's Hovind, defenders are primed to see every critique as persecution, which is why the reply escalated into "you're disgusting" instead of calm correction. So basically, Hovind said something offensive in tone, even if his argument wasn't pro-Nazi, and his followers lashing out at you for pointing it out, because to them, you're just part of the world that's always out to get Kent. I could go through what it said previously, I could pull that one up, but I think this suffices. It said very similar stuff when I did a dry run of this, which again was the inspiration for this video. Let me ask it, is there any context where such, god damn it, phrasing would be appropriate? Ah, hell, it's doing this thing. Come on, ChatGPT, I just don't. We're going to go with the shorter one. We're going to go with the shorter one just for the sake of brevity. Pretty much no, there isn't a serious or respectful context where saying these are the ovens they used to bake them about Holocaust victims would come across as appropriate. Here's why. Tone matters as much as content. Even if the intent is to condemn the Nazis, that kind of casual or joking phrasing trivializes mass murder. Historical sensitivity. Holocaust language carries enormous weight. Museums, educators, and survivors choose their words carefully. Cremate, burned, murdered, because anything flippant risks sounding like mockery or denial. Audience reception. Regardless of speaker intent, most people will interpret a line like that as offensive, insensitive, or dehumanizing. It puts a wink tone on something that demands solemnity. That is also a new word to me. Solemnity. Nice. I like that word. The only narrow exception I could imagine would be in a work of deliberate satire. Dark comedy meant to highlight absurdity or evil, but even then it's walking a razor's edge and you'd expect backlash. When it's said earnestly in a lecture, sermon, or debate, which is not every single Kent Hovind video, a sermon, a lecture, and in some ways a one side of a perpetual debate, especially by someone like Hovind, it does land as satire. It doesn't land as satire, it lands as disrespect. So in short, it's not about whether he was for or against the Nazis. It's the phrasing that the phrasing itself was inherently inappropriate. So let's cover a few more things. I fat finger the keyboard a lot now. It's happening as I get older. So when you see me just mash random letters, that's why. Kent has done the eyes pulled back gesture in referencing, as I can't spell, there's one F in there. I have trouble with spelling, guys. I'm very, very aware of it and kind of sensitive to it. Gesture in referencing pigs eating leftover Chinese food. I'll use his quote, even though I call it Asian food, even though it's actually Asian American, and it does have heavy Chinese inspiration, but, you know, we're just going to use this phrasing. Saying that the pigs would get slanted eyes. He has also said jokes about what sound does a chicken make in China, then makes a meow sound, implying Chinese people eat cats, and recently also said if people don't adopt cats he has, he's going to, quote, give them to the Chinese restaurant. Amazing. I can spell. Oh, no, I can't spell restaurant correctly. I suck at spelling A-N-T. If you notice the way I talk, I'll accent some things, like with restaurant. I'll end up putting the U sound in there more, and it makes me want to put in the U like it's the word aunt. And yes, we're supposed to be talking about Hovind, not analyzing my own crappy spelling, but yeah. There's trying to figure it out. That's one of my favorite things, is try to figure out, why are you so weird, Chris? But okay, let's see what ChatGPT says about this. Just to top off the stream. Double check my stats real quick. It's still got 15 viewers. Hope everyone's doing well out there. Those examples fit a clear pattern. Kent Hovind has a history of using flippant, racially charged, or demeaning jokes when talking about serious subjects or their cultures. Breaking it down, eyes pulled back gesture about pigs eating Chinese food. That's a textbook racist caricature. It reduces Chinese people to a physical stereotype played for laughs. What sound does a chicken make in China? Meow. That's a common racist trope implying Chinese people eat cats and dogs. It's a lazy, insulting stereotype, not a clever observation. Threatening to give the cats the Chinese restaurant. Same trope, same implication. Dehumanizing an entire group through a mocking stereotype. Taken together, these aren't isolated slips of the tongue. They show a repeated willingness to use ethnic groups, in this case Chinese people, as the butt of jokes and to lean on offensive caricatures for humor. So when you add this to his Bacon Holocaust comment, you can see why people react so strongly. It's not just one line in isolation. It's part of a pattern of insensitivity and mockery. His defenders tend to brush it off as just jokes or out of context. But repetition suggests it's not accidental. It's how he performs. If you're confronting someone defending him, the most effective point you can make is, even if you think his intent is innocent, his words and gestures keep trivializing suffering and leaning on racial stereotypes. That's not being misquoted. That's a repeated pattern. You know, I know a lot of people love the way I write about stuff, talk about stuff, and I know AI has a certain, like a well-deserved stigma about many elements of how it writes, but sometimes it gets things perfect. Could tweak it a bit just for customization's sake, but for some reason, the way I've interacted with it traditionally has been really, really, solid. So that is that. That is the stream I wanted to do for today. I wasn't going to stream, but after that comment, that just I just wanted to cement all this and I want to say very well hidden rage that someone is actually defending Kent Hovind on that Holocaust comment. And just to not even ignore or to not even notice and to ignore what he does in general by constantly using the Holocaust as just a stepping stone, as a little piece of ammo in his war on evolution, because that's all that matters to him, is that he can use the Nazis to try to further his own stupid agenda. He doesn't care about any of the lives lost. He doesn't care about history. He doesn't give a damn about any of that. Anyone who did would never utter those words. I don't know. I don't know how else to follow that. I have been talking for near 30 minutes. My throat is shot. I always have like coughing issues. I have upper respiratory issues. So that's part of why I actually don't do too many streams like this where I just talk, because it tears up my throat. Like, it's bad. Like, I just want to cough right now. In fact, it's getting worse. So before I go into coughing spasms, I'm going to end this here. To the guy who commented, fuck you with every single fiber of mine and my audience's being. You are garbage for defending the absolute piece of shit that is Kent Hovind. I'm going to drink some water, try to relax. I'll be in Discord. Hope y'all enjoyed. Leave a comment down below. Comments are going to be open. Live chat wasn't open. Comments are. So comment away, my friends. And tell our stupid friend who commented earlier what you actually think about what he had to say about him defending Hovind. Or even better, go back to my video where I show Hovind's thing, find his comment, and tell him what you think. Remember, I don't censor my comments, so feel free. Much love, everyone.